and in Washington, D.C. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Doc from Texas.
Oh, hey, Doc.
Hey, man. How are you this morning?
I am always well, thank you.
Hey, quick question. I got two questions. The first one, okay, Steve Kane started the show before you did?
Yes.
Okay. So, I was just wondering, how long have you been on it?
Oh, God, a long time.
I got you. I know it goes by so fast. And then one more quick question. I was just reading that their aircraft carrier that they're building, they named it after a World War II hero that helped save some people's lives during Pearl Harbor, the attack on Pearl Harbor. They're thinking about changing that name to naming it after Trump, which I think is wrong.
Who says that? I haven't heard anything about them naming it after Trump.
It's been talked about in the Pentagon, and once it's out there, my personal thing, if something is out there, they mean they're talking about it.
No, they're not going to name an aircraft. First off, they're not going to name an aircraft carrier after a president who's in office. Sometimes they name them after Gerald Ford, like he was in the Navy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they name them after callers. You know, they name them after presidents who were in the Navy, things like that.
I just heard it. Like I said, I saw it this morning. I've been reading it.
No.
And like I'm saying,
no, that's just garbage.
Okay, so you telling me? Okay, so I heard it. They just talk about it in the Pentagon. Then I heard too. Really, once the ship is named, it's superstitious. You really not to change the name of that ship, because you doom that ship when it does.
Oh, really? So wherever you're getting your information, you should stop watching that.
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm not going to watch. I'm like you. I get my information from everywhere, and I'm just saying it's out there. It's out there.
It's not out there. That's just something somebody made up.
No, it's not. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is. You have a good day.
It is. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, after that, first call of the day is that. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, my goodness. Good morning to you. You know, Doc, we don't need aircraft carriers or anything like that. We got Palm Beach. We got the airport in Palm Beach named Donald Trump Airport, International Airport. And we're going to have other things named because he's the greatest president ever. Now, I have to say this to you, and I'm gonna stroke you a little bit.
Yeah.
We disagree a lot. We disagree sometimes on different things, but I can say this. I just said to my wife, Brian is the most moral person probably on the radio.
Oh.
You, in all these years, have had so many opportunities in your line of work. You know the things that have gone on behind the scenes and in the business with other jocks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you stayed above all of that, man. So I give you a lot of credit. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because Washington, D.C. are a bunch of lowlifes. These people back in California in the movie business are lowlifes. I, in the late 80s and early 90s, hung out with a lot of people in the Fort Lauderdale area that had big money, Brian, and they all had sexual, different crazy things going on. The women were attracted by power and money, and these guys were just like pulling fish out of the water. That's what's happening in Washington, D.C. So Eric Swalwell is just the tip of the iceberg. In the 70s, there was a congressman that literally had sex with his wife on the steps of Congress.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm saying is Swalwell. I mean, yeah, he's a dirtbag, but a lot of them are dirtbags. And I know you're going to get people that are probably going to call up and say, "Well, look at President Trump." Tired of that crap already.
Well, no, like I was saying, the thing with Eric Swalwell, the point of Eric Swalwell is to try to get him to flip. He knows a lot of stuff.
Oh, he'll flip.
Yeah.
Sure. And with these Chinese people and everything, the guy's a dirtbag, man. He's like, and he came close. He was going to run for president, or he did run for president. I mean, think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy Pelosi, I told you, is the biggest poison that ever stepped foot in Washington.
Well, listen, Richie, I'm gonna move on because I want to get into the article. But I appreciate the stroke, if that's what you call that. I don't know. I guess the stroke was. I said they're going to make a deal. Let me get through this because this is really good. This raid of Eric Swalwell was amazing. Listen to this. FBI agents. I wish I've not seen any video of this yet, and I hope some. I know people at the airport. If he was on a regular flight, film this, all right? And I hope they upload it to social media. I haven't seen it yet. FBI agents confronted Eric Swalwell with a search warrant when he landed at San Francisco Airport Saturday and seized his electronic devices, including his cell phone, as part of a federal criminal investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct. So, when he was walking off the plane, the FBI agents were waiting for him. And as psychotic as Eric Swalwell is, he thought, oh, they know I'm here. They sent a security team, right? That's exactly right. Yeah, but then he found out they had a warrant to serve him. They took Swalwell's MacBook Pro. Oh. There is nothing on that laptop, MacBook Pro of Eric Swalwell's that is going to make him look like anything other than what he is, a scumbag. I can only imagine what's on his computer. Oh, my goodness. They took Swalwell's MacBook Pro, charging cable, and wall charger. They got it. They wanted to make sure they had the right charger, and that's right. And that's according to the search warrant. The search warrant filed on August 13th was filed under a federal statute which prohibits officials, including law enforcement, from abusing their authority to deprive someone of their constitutional rights. So these are serious things. The FBI agents, armed with additional court-approved search warrants, then entered his house in Washington, D.C. Sunday, seizing additional undisclosed potential evidence. Sources say the former representative started his day Saturday in Washington, where he still maintains a residence with his wife and 3 children. He headed to the airport later in the day and flew to his home state of California. The feds were waiting for him when he stepped off the plane. The following day, neither he nor his wife was home when the feds rolled up to their property in Northwest D.C. So they did a raid on his house with no one there. Oh, this is great. Now here's some of the charges. He is facing multiple sexual assault charges. Listen to this. At least 4 women have made sexual misconduct allegations, including a former staffer who claimed the married politician raped her twice when she was too intoxicated to consent, in 2019 and in 2024. And a lot of people may say, well, wait a minute, twice? Why didn't she do anything? Because you got to remember, one of Eric Swalwell's best friends was Hunter Biden. So Eric Swalwell was a very well-connected person. They were afraid of him. 2 of the women said he sent them unsolicited pictures of his penis. I hope they don't release that. The Department of Justice launched its investigation into the disgraced former congressman in April. Swalwell was also being investigated by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and the LA County Sheriff's Department. Wow. And, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. He's kept a low profile, including Monday when newly declassified records were released about his sexcapades and escapades with the Chinese spy known as Fang Fang. The White House Transparency Task Force dropped the documents in which Swalwell admitted to the FBI that he occasionally hooked up with Fang Fang. The Chinese national spent years cozying up to the rising California Democrat, helping bundle donations for Swalwell's 2014 campaign, even placing an intern in his congressional office. Let's see here. There's more. He said, I've made some mistakes. Yeah, well. Eric has been accused of horrible things, says one source. Let's see here. The allegations began with claims from a former staffer who alleged she was raped by Swalwell when she was too intoxicated to consent. She told CNN that in April 2024, see, it's interesting, CNN's on Swalwell. He's in trouble. He's got the liberal network after him. She told CNN that in April 2024, after a night of heavy drinking in New York City, she woke up to Swalwell having sex with her in his hotel bed. I was pushing him off me, saying no. Adding that it happened after she stopped working at his office. He didn't stop. They reached out to Eric Swalwell. No comment. So they've got him dead to rights. I mean, they've got witnesses, they've got testimony, they've got timelines, they've got proof, they've got evidence. And I don't think I really don't believe that this was a random, all right, it's finally time, let's get Eric Swalwell. I think this is part of a bigger case looking for a cooperating witness, looking for an informant. And inform, he certainly will. All right, now we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour, and when we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. I want to talk to those of you that have neuropathy. You know, if you or a loved one have neuropathy, I don't have to tell you, it's god-awful, isn't it? It really is. You know, the symptoms make life truly unbearable. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in your hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance. Do you fall down all the time or from time to time? Muscle twitching, the feeling of pins and needles in the hands and feet, maybe no feeling at all. And, you know, seniors fall down a lot. You know, over your life, you know, seniors, they fall down a lot. Well, they probably have neuropathy. But there is help available at Lighthouse Medical in Pompano. They have a treatment for neuropathy that works and lasts. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for your no-charge consultation, 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again.
I think you're going to really love it.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Gregg. From the All-Year Cooling Weather Center, South Florida's #1 choice for same-day AC service and installation. Here's your oldies forecast.
Skies will be mostly sunny today with a chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Highs in the mid-90s. For the weekend, skies will be partly cloudy on Saturday. Sunday, a high of
All-Year Cooling Weather Center.
Nothing on.
Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All-Year Cooling is here to serve your family.
Charging cable. No, they're not going to. 77 celebrating 4.
On Beeline Highway, watch for construction Blue Heron Boulevard to North Lake Boulevard. Atlantic Avenue, there's Woodward High Point Boulevard. Spot something on the roads called the traffic tip line. Down 250 Keyword was calm traffic on Rockers.
That's your traffic brought to you by PBKC. Looking for excitement? PBKC is your entertainment destination. Play poker, hit the table games, and experience thrilling OTP action with Saratoga, the $1 million Pacific Classic.
49 years on the radio, and of course, as I said, we're self. Hey guys.
Call 561-743-0999 or go to jupiterjoe.com.
Hi, it's Dr. Phil about been hearing my commercials about why my pain, my laser weight treatment, but today's commercial, today's spot is going to be on LaPorta Roofing. What an experience I've had with him and his company. They've done a few of my friends' houses, and my son and my house is never a downtime. They're old school, which means call them up, they'll be there. How many times do you call
954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. 954-604-4602. LaportaRoofing.com. They'll never sell you a roof you don't need.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 49 years on the air.
All righty, we're back. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Our number, 888-465-2631. You know, I saw this very strange just event and story in the news. This Lindsay Clancy, have you seen this Lindsay Clancy trial? I mean, it's open and shut. She killed her 3 kids. Lock her up. Give her the death penalty. You know, I'm usually against the death penalty, but in this case, she's a psycho. And I'm seeing these, I don't know how many women, it seems like hundreds, wearing pink shirts, standing out in front of the courthouse, cheering the woman who murdered her 3 children. What is that about? I mean, what is it? Now, this Lindsay Clancy trial, I haven't seen, this is like blacks during OJ. It makes no sense whatever. In fact, she said, what I mean by that is, OJ was guilty. Black people said, we don't care. He killed 2 white people. Now, Lindsay Clancy, they're blaming drugs, Big Pharma. No, she did it. You know, her husband, I was reading up a little bit on her this morning. She had everything, right? She had daycare, she had nannies. Her husband made sure she didn't have to do anything. And she killed him. This is one article about it. It says, Candace Owens is jumping on the bandwagon because she wants some attention and everything else. But it says here, Candace Owens has shared her views of the Lindsay Clancy murder. And Candace Owens is not alone, because women all over this country, all over social media, I was looking all over X, are rallying behind this murderer of her children. She's the worst. Candace Owens has shared her views on Lindsay Clancy's murder trial, blaming her medical treatment and saying she was put into an intentional psychosis. Clancy is accused of killing her 3 children. Her defense says she was suffering from postpartum psychosis and should not be held criminally responsible for their deaths. I have never seen anything quite like this. With the OJ case, there were some differences with OJ, and the differences with OJ is it was a very heated time, in particular in Los Angeles, because we had the LA riots after Rodney King and everything. And so this kind of, the timing of it just, it all fed in. So that's one of the main reasons there was such a racial aspect to the O.J. Simpson trial. But Lindsay Clancy, I don't get it. And I saw her car arriving to court, right? They're driving this murderer of her own children into court. And the streets, both sides of the street on the road to the courthouse, are lined up with women wearing pink shirts. Some of them are wearing pink pants too, cheering her on as she comes and goes from the courthouse every day. And for the life of me, I don't get it. She murdered her 3 children. She murdered her 3 children. Why would anyone support this person? Liberal, I imagine mostly liberal women, don't worry about Candace Owens. She's just trying to get on some trend to get some publicity. She's always riding the wave of trends to be relevant. But this is when I first saw the supporters in front of the courthouse, it wasn't that many. There were a handful. They were wearing the pink shirts, But over the last few days, more and more women are joining them. And as far as the eye could see down the street, you have these women. When we've had cases in the past of women who have killed their children, I've never seen women line up
and support the killers like this. Casey Anthony, she got away with it. She got away with it. You know why Casey Anthony got away with it? I followed that trial because we covered it on the air, and it was here in Florida. The jury foreman had a thing for her, and he convinced the jury. There was a moment in the case, Casey Anthony during that trial. I was watching it live because we were covering it every day on the show, and she was dressed kind of like a kindergarten teacher. And then during a break, one day she took off, I couldn't believe this, she took off her sweater and she was wearing like this almost see-through spandex skin-tight shirt with no bra on. And right then, that was it. That jury foreman, he was ready. That was it. And he made sure they acquitted her. That was crazy. But I don't remember people lining up defending Casey Anthony. And who was that other woman? Who was that woman in the 90s? I saw her not too long ago in the news. She's in prison still. But the woman in the 90s, she killed her 3 children, and she drove them into a lake and drowned them, remember? And then when the police came, she said that they were hijacked and kidnapped by black men, and remember that? Andrea Yates, thank you very much. Andrea Yates killed her 3 children, drove them into a lake, said a black man did it. Was that Andrea Yates or Susan Smith? Which was the one that drove the car with the 3 kids into the lake? Was it Susan Smith? It's been a long time. It was in the early 90s, early mid-90s. No one was supporting her. And then there was that nutbag. There was one woman, I cannot remember her name at all. And Susan Smith is the one who drove the kids into the lake and said a black man did it. Remember that? And that fell apart real quick, and she's still in prison. I saw her recently, a picture of her. They had an updated mugshot that was in the news in the last couple of months. Yep, Susan Smith. And then there was another woman who killed her 5 children by drowning them in the bathtub. Remember this? And she chased them around the house and grabbed them one by one and drowned her 5 children in the bathtub at home. I don't remember women lining up to support any of these women. Now, I don't really usually follow these cases. There was a woman on trial for murder a couple years ago. The one that was on trial where was it her boyfriend or husband was a Boston cop, and he was killed in front of the house, and he was laying in the snow. Remember her? She had defenders that were out in front of the courthouse, which I couldn't understand at all, why she would have defenders in front of the courthouse. Yeah, Karen Reed, was that Karen Reed? And I'll tell you, I followed that too because we covered all these things on the show. And I've even seen a couple of like online, like 48 hours type shows on that Karen Reed case. If she didn't do it, who did? Give me a break. So she did have people defending her. I get it. And that was weird. It was very weird. But that case, at least there was some doubt. This woman, Lindsay Clancy, said she did it. So there's no mystery. She can't blame the crooked police force. She can't blame a black man that she made up. She can't talk about Zanny the nanny. Remember Zanny the nanny? Or in OJ's case, the Colombian drug dealers with the Colombian necktie. Remember all that? She's confessed. And these women that are lined up outside of the courthouse, cheering and rooting for this murderer of her own children, I mean, that's the worst. That's the worst. And I don't get it. There's no human instinct, I thought, greater than a woman and the natural instinct that she has to protect her children. And a lot of times, like yesterday, I was talking about the Natalie Harp smears, right? And really what was motivating me to talk about, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll get to the calls, and after the break, I'll go back to the phones. But yesterday, what drove me to talk about Natalie Harp, it wasn't because it was Trump. I know you guys may think that is Trump. You know, you're in that Trump cult. No, it was as a father. You know, my daughter's a few years younger than Natalie Harp, but I can only imagine, you know, that she's young and what they're putting her through. As a father, I was disgusted by what I was seeing with Natalie Harp, and I was compelled as a parent to defend her honor since her dad's not here to do it. And these women, let me tell you, these women that are, if my wife, let me tell you, if I was married to one of these women that were lined up on the street cheering on this Lindsay Clancy, who confessed that she murdered her 3 children, I would go to a divorce lawyer. If I had kids, I'd go to a divorce lawyer. I would tell the lawyer what my lunatic wife is doing and who she's rooting for, and tell them that I'm worried about my children. I would not trust these women with my children. Would you? If they're out in the streets cheering on a woman who's confessed to killing her kids, so there's no doubt about it that she did it. These are like those psycho girls with the Luigi, right? That are in the courtroom and everything. What's going on with women in this country? We're in a phase with women in this country. You know, you've always had a weirdo or two that liked bad guys. We used to have Sandra London, right? We had on the show a few times. Sandra London was married to the Gainesville serial killer, Danny Rawlings, right? And I remember her in studio. She creeped me the freak out, man. She was married to a serial killer. And by the way, she married him while he was in prison for the Gainesville killings. It wasn't like they were married. It wasn't like, you know, she was with him before and had no idea. She was psycho. I don't know if she's still alive or not, but she was creepy and psycho and weird. You know, and there's always been women, these weirdos that want to marry the Menendez brothers or something. But now we have mass numbers of women who are doing insane, crazy things. All right, let's take a break, and the number's 888-465-2631. If you're on hold, stand by. 888-465-2631. You know, earlier I was talking about the rains. It rained last night. Oh man, it rained yesterday afternoon. It rains every day. It's hurricane season. It rains, and I was talking about how you don't want to be on the road with bald tires. Well, you don't want to be in a house that has a leaky roof either. You know, if you've got a wet spot on your ceiling, you've got a leak in your roof, and you got to understand, before that wet spot appears on your ceiling, what that water has to go through. You know, you've got damaged roofing material. So you have shingles, tiles, whatever you got up there, that's damaged. The water has to go through that. Then it has to go through the material under the tiles or the shingles. I don't know what they call that coating. I'm not the roofer. Tom Laporta is. He'll tell you. But you know that what they put underneath that. Then there's wood, so it's got to soak through the wood. Then after it goes through the wood, it's got to rot all that out. It's got to go into your ceiling, but you have insulation, which is pretty thick here in Florida. So by the time you've got that wet spot on the ceiling, think about how far and how long it took to get there, right? And you've got a hole in your roof. You got a leak in your roof. You've got some rotten wood probably, right? You probably have a pool of water over the insulation in your attic or crawl space. So that wet spot in the ceiling, oh, that's not a big deal. It's only the size of a quarter. Yeah, tell yourself that. Call Tom Laporta, and Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing will come over and take a look. This number rings directly to his cell phone. Remember, he covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. 954-604-4602. You can call or text 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
On the line is Jamie LeeZep from Swift Tax. You know, Jamie, a lot of people missed the tax deadline on April 15th. Not only is it not too late for them to file, but they may have, with the new tax code, a huge refund coming that they're leaving on the table, right?
Absolutely, Brian. If you haven't filed your taxes and you've been avoiding it because you're worried about penalties or late fees, if you are anticipating a refund, give me a call. There's a good chance there is a substantial amount of money left on the table for you. Again, this is your money. You worked hard for it. Give me a call anytime. Jamie LeeZep, Swift Tax.
Yeah, and remember, Jamie LeeZep can help you with your taxes no matter where you are located in the United States. Give him a call right now, 954-773-1587. 954-773-1587.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pamela. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 54-222-6642.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Sandra. I'm calling from Delray Beach. The Barry Siegel Law Group did such wonderful work for me, and I was very particular. I'm a professional myself, and I went to about 3 or 4 attorneys prior. They wanted to do what they wanted to do. They didn't want to add anything extra, but Barry tailored it to my needs. And it's not only the trust. There's so many other end-of-life documents, the living will, the will, and I tailored each one of them to my liking, and they were wonderful and always, always polite. And not only that, when you finish your documents and you leave this world, your beneficiaries can go there and they'll explain everything to them, which is a big deal. The Siegel Group is above and beyond any other attorney that I have ever contacted. Plus, they give you a big portfolio at the end with a leather-bound documents, and it's beautiful.
Give the Siegel Law Group a call, 855-FLA-3782,
Was a very well-
855-FLA-3782.
it's been a long time,
SCREENLESS.com.
I'm 5'4".
The social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All righty, we're back. I'm Brian. It's Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. It is Open MAGA Mike Friday. You can call in about any and everything on your mind. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? There we go. All right, first one of the day. First one. And try to get it out. I don't know. I don't know what it is about these guys. Oh boy, I tell you. It is open phones on Friday, but not that open. He didn't get the whole thing out though, because I was pretty quick. I had my finger on the button. If you're on hold, stand by while we're waiting for the delay to re-engage. There was an ISIS Muslim Islamic terror attack that was stopped this week in the United States. It was a pretty bad one too. An obese ISIS woman in full Iranian burqa gear. I mean everything, her hands, her face, everything was covered up. They describe her as a New York woman. I don't know, is New York a city outside Tehran? If you see this woman, it's ridiculous. A New York woman, allegedly, planned to bomb the New York State Capitol and scouted the building clad in a burqa. The FBI says this was an ISIS-inspired plot. Her name's Jessica. That's right. She was arrested on Wednesday, charged with attempting to provide material support to ISIS, according to a complaint filed in the U.S. District Court. She was taken into custody after buying what she believed to be a bomb and a gun. So they had an undercover Fed grab her. She appeared in federal district court in Albany for the first time yesterday. She's accused of planning to target the New York State Capitol and New York State senators. Investigators learned that she had intended to conduct the attack before fleeing to Syria to join others in ISIS-controlled territories. That's nice. She was allegedly observed making several visits to the New York State Capitol grounds, taking several photographs of the building. A photo released showed her doing reconnaissance, fully covered in... And that's probably what tipped them off, right? With everything that's going on with Iran. She posted messages online that included praise be to Allah for September 11th. Is that her, or is that a quote from Hassan Piker on his program? I don't know. Yeah, she said, praise be to Allah for September 11th, and when I can migrate, I will poison these infidels, she wrote. Yes, yes, yes. She also wanted to destroy as much of the building as possible, she said, and kill the senators while they're meeting. I want them to lose a lot of important documents as well. She wanted to affect the American system and destroy the American system, which she calls the Tag Hut, which is an Islamic term, referring to the idea of worshiping anything other than God. Okay. An FBI informant posing as an ISIS facilitator started talking with her in July. She told them about her plans to attack the building in Albany and said she wanted to help making explosives. She also said she was an Islamic State supporter and pledged her allegiance to the Islamic State in an audio message. She began sending the FBI informant pictures of the New York State Capitol. Wow. I mean, she's pretty hardcore. And they have her, it looks like I don't know. Yeah, she's in a Home Depot buying some materials that she was planning on using with the bomb. You know, I wonder, is anyone going to ask Abdul to respond to this? Do you think? You know, this is the thing. This Democrat socialist attempted takeover of the Democrat Party is certainly, some of it's about, you know, the Democrat socialism and communism. But a big chunk of it are people like Abdul, who are Muslim, that are trying to make their inroads in the government, right? I mean, this is known. Everybody knows this, but most people don't want to talk about it because it's not politically correct. You know, every time someone has an American flag, or the media decides is a right-winger, right, some white supremacist or something, every time you see like a white supremacist jaywalk, they go to President Trump to comment. President Trump, do you have any comment? A white supremacist, he made a rolling stop at a stop sign. Will you condemn this white supremacist and the Proud Boys for the rolling stop at the stop sign? And then if he doesn't, he's in league with them. Do you think anyone will ask Abdul in Michigan about this burqa-clad woman? And she was also going to go on and commit terror acts in Washington, D.C. Of course they're not. They don't want to be labeled an Islamophobe, a bigot. So think about this. So we've got a Muslim terrorist attack that Kash Patel stopped this week. We've got an attempted assassination on Scott Bassett, where the guy was sentenced to 72 months in prison. I can't believe that's what you get for an assassination attempt on a cabinet member, 72 months. I mean, some of you probably have car loans with longer terms than that. And then a man in New York, the ISIS woman was in New York. Here's another one in New York. New York man threatening to kill Judge Janine has been arrested. He was very specific about his threat, which I'm not going to say. A New York man has been arrested for allegedly saying he would, well, kill Judge Janine. I mean, you know, we have assassination attempts on the president, on the cabinet, on the first lady, on the U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia, which is a big deal, right? We have assassination attempts on Ivanka Trump, on Don Jr. I mean, what's going on, guys? I mean, what is, you know, we have a big problem in this country. You know what it is? Violence from the left. That's it. The violence, all of this violence that we're talking about, all these assassination attempts, these are all liberals. All of them, including this ISIS woman okay, in New York that I was talking about. I promise you, she's not MAGA. She's probably got a Abdul for Senate poster in her apartment with her cat that she left behind. She's the kind of woman during the arrest, her biggest concern is who's going to feed her cat, right? But there's been so much violence in the last year and a half from the left towards the Trump administration. I mean, it's endless. I don't know if there's been this thing with Judge Jeanines in the news today. The Scott Bassett sentencing for that attempted assassin was like 3 days ago, 2-3 days ago. You know, so I don't think we've had a week go by in the last several months where there hasn't been a new story of an assassination attempt against the president, a member of the First Family, or someone in his orbit. And you on the left want to say that Trump's the problem? How do you figure that? I'd be very interested in how you make sense of that, because it doesn't make sense to me. I want to talk about Jamie Levac over at Swift Tax. Jamie Levac's amazing. He came very highly recommended from someone I know personally, and he does incredible work. When I met with Jamie Levac for the very first time, and he started talking to me about taxes, I was blown away, not just by his knowledge, because he does have a great understanding of the tax code for both individuals and businesses and everything else, but he loves doing taxes. And what he loves about it is saving you money and getting you money back from the IRS. It's really like a game to Jamie Levac. He loves it. He really, truly does. Now, if you missed the tax filing deadline this year, don't worry, people. Call Jamie Levac. He'll take care of it for you. If there were past years where you have not filed your taxes, call Jamie Levac. He'll take care of it for you, okay? He's very, very good. If you owe money to the IRS, even if you have already come up with payment arrangements with the IRS, call Jamie Levac. You know, one of our listeners, he was paying money back taxes to the IRS. Jamie Levac looked at his past years, found out not only did he not owe the IRS money, but the IRS owed him money. If you're a business owner of any size, whether you're a large company with a couple hundred employees, or you're in the gig economy and drive for Uber or Lyft or DoorDash or anything in between, you want to call Jamie Levac. Not only will he help you with your business taxes, and he does a great job with those too, I'm here to tell you, he'll also handle your bookkeeping and your payroll taxes. He can handle your taxes no matter where you are in the United States. Give him a call or text. This number rings directly to Jamie Levac, 954-773-1587. 954-773-1587. That's 954-773-1587 for Jamie Levac at Swift Tax. All right, those of you who want to hold stand by, we'll take our break for the top of the hour, and we'll be back after this.
WTJA AM Tilray Beach, also heard in St. Lucie County on 1590 WPSL Port St. Lucie, and in Martin County on 1450 WSTU Stewart. We are South Florida's home for the true oldies
the top of the hour. Figure that.
From the Code Red Roofers Weather Center.
I'd be very interested in how you make sense of that.
Respond. Call 844-4-CODE-RED. CodeRedRoofers.com. Here's your oldies forecast.
Skies will be mostly sunny today with a chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Highs in the mid-90s. For the weekend, skies will be partly cloudy both Saturday and Sunday. A high both days of 93 and a 50% rain chance.
Weather brought to you by Code Red Roofers. Roofers who respond. Serving South Florida for over 20 years. Promoting integrity over profitability. And focused on doing right over being right. Protect your home or office today with Code Red Roofers. Call 844-4-CODE-RED. CodeRedRoofers.com. And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
On Hood Road at Alton Road, emergency vehicles are still on the scene of an earlier accident. On Atlantic Avenue, there's construction at High Point Boulevard. Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line down to 50 Keyport, West Palm traffic on Rockers.
Batch of traffic brought to you by PBKC. More sun, more fun, more winnings this August at PBKC's Poker Room. The excitement never stops with high hands every 15 minutes. Every day, cash giveaway and a $100,000 progressive weekend. Then hit our exciting table games, including Ultimate Texas Hold'em and 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum bet all day, every day. Then go all in with our exciting daily poker tournaments. Don't miss the hottest action this August. Get all the details at pbkennelclub.com.
Hi, Tom Laporta here. We are Laporta Roofing, a family business since 1983. You are our customer. In other words, our boss. We are here for and because of you, not the other way around. The 2026 rainy season is upon us. Because we haven't had a hurricane in 2 years, all the storm chaser roofing companies have gone out of business, leaving only the strongest and the best contractors. At Laporta Roofing, we will never sell you a roof you don't need. We don't have salesmen or commissions, so we will never pressure you to sign a contract. Also, deposits are not required. At Laporta Roofing, you will always come first. We must earn your trust, and we will. So call me on my cell at 954-604-4602 or find us on the web at laportaroofing.com. That number again is 954-604-4602, 954-604-4602, or on the web at laportaroofing.com.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Sandra. I'm calling from Delray Beach. The Barry Siegel Law Group did such wonderful work for me, and I was very particular. I'm a professional myself, and I went to about 3 or 4 attorneys prior. They wanted to do what they wanted to do. They didn't want to add anything extra, but Barry tailored it to my needs. And it's not only the trust. There's so many other end-of-life documents, the living will, the will, and I tailored each one of them to my liking, and they were wonderful and always, always polite. And not only that, when you finish your documents and you leave this world, your beneficiaries could go there and they'll explain everything to them, which is a big deal. The Siegel Group is above and beyond any other attorney that I have ever contacted. Plus, they give you a big portfolio at the end with a leather-bound documents. It's beautiful.
Give the Siegel Law Group a call, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All righty, we are back. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. All right, we'll go back to the delays re-engaged, delays on, and that's the dump button, and gee whiz. Oh, man, I tell you. You know, the dump button really should be brought to you by Dr. Philip Appleton and his robotic laser wave pain treatment, because the arthritis that I got in my finger was from hitting the dump button so much. That is a true story. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Me?
It sounds like you.
Okay, alright. My name is Grant.
Is
I'm asking about what you said yesterday, that Natalie Harp was turned away. They told her she had cancer and they turned her away.
No, she said she gave a speech in 2020 at the Republican National Convention, and I'm telling you what I said yesterday. Okay, you got to listen instead of waiting to talk. Okay, this is what I said. Natalie Harp spoke at the Republican National Convention in 2020, and she talked about how President Trump saved her life with the right to try order that he signed, and she said that her doctors, when she had the heavy cancer, the bad cancer, told her there was nothing she could do to go home and die. And she said the pharmaceutical companies didn't want her in medical trials because she was not likely to survive, and she would hurt the study because she might die. So that's it. They turned her away from medical treatment, told her to go home and die.
So they tried traditional chemo, right?
I don't. She didn't pull out her whole medical record.
They did try traditional chemo. That didn't work. They turned her down from the clinical trial. Then they approved her for the experimental trial. which was immunotherapy.
Okay. So what's the point? What's your point? No. Excuse me. No, I'm talking. Excuse me. No. Excuse me. No. You're not. We're talking together. So what's the? Excuse me. What is the point you're trying to make? Get to the point you're trying to make.
I just did. She tried that drug. She posted in March of 2018 that she was doing that drug, the immunotherapy drug or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The triact wasn't passed until 2 months later. So how did Trump save her?
Well, because she says what you said is not accurate, and I'm going to go by her as opposed to you.
She posted on Twitter that she was doing her drug.
I'm going to go by what she says, not you. And she says something different.
She posted in 2018 that she was doing that.
Well, maybe that drug didn't work.
Okay, what drug was it?
I don't know. I'm trying to understand. What are you trying to say? Make your main point.
What you were saying yesterday wasn't true.
What I said is what she said at the Republican National Convention in 2020. That's what I was talking about.
Okay, she's lying.
Maybe you just have bad information.
She posted in 2018, March of 2018, that she was taking the drug. Right? Trial wasn't passed.
So you're saying she's okay. Hold on. So you're saying she's lying about when she took the drug?
I'm saying she's lying.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now slow down. No. Oh, now she didn't even have cancer. Oh, there we go. All right. Second one of the day, Mike. Oh. What has happened to the vocabulary of our country? If you're on hold, stand by while we wait for. How long does it take for the delay to build back? Do you know? Sometimes, you have the device next to you in the studio and you can watch it build back up. Okay. We don't need to let them know how long. But now I know. Okay. You sure about that? I'm going to give it longer than that. That's cutting it too close, Mike. I don't trust that. I'd rather be safe than sorry. I have taken not many calls today. If you're on hold, stand by. I've taken 4 calls. 2 of them, I had to use the dump button, right? And the other 2 were kind of worthless today. Doc's call was worthless, and I don't know what Richie was really talking about. He said he was going to stroke me. Okay, I don't know where the stroke was. But we're here for 1 hour and 51 minutes. Can you guys do me a favor and elevate the quality of the content of the call? Okay? This is why we don't do open phones every day. But it's unfortunate I had to let him go. And by the way, that is not telling you to call back because it's only 1 call per show. I was very interested in that discussion because then he told me right before he, used the language that he doesn't even believe that she had cancer. Okay? So, but he's got this post that she made that contradicts what the narrative is. He believes that, but he doesn't believe she even had cancer now. There's no evidence she had cancer. Oh, my goodness. That's when he started to lose it. All right, the delay is re-engaged. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Richard from Pompano.
Hey, Richard.
Okay, I've been watching the trial a little bit.
Oh, you're talking about the woman who killed her kids?
Yeah, Clancy or something. And,
Yeah.
They say she's paralyzed from the waist down. What injury? When did that happen?
I don't know. Yeah, she is in a wheelchair. Didn't she jump out of a building or something? And she injured herself?
Something about, yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't, yeah, but she wasn't paralyzed before she killed her kids. She was fine then. She became paralyzed after she killed her kids.
Yeah. Okay, and one other question. If it's none of my business, I'll hang up. I tried to watch you on YouTube a couple of days ago. I don't know, and you said there was a crisis. And I couldn't.
Off the air? There was something was going on off the air, and I'm not going to tell you what it was.
Okay, that's
Not everything is for the air, but there was a problem, and I don't even know how I got through the show. Tell you the truth, and if it would have happened before the show, it would have been questionable as to whether or not I would have even done the show. It happens. It happens. I probably shouldn't have referenced that there was something going on, right? Because if I'm not going to tell you in the end, but I want to tell you this. Today, I got to the radio station really early today, and I left early because there's a lot of road construction, and they have some of the exits blocked, and actually the turnpike, I had to get off the turnpike and go through a detour that took me in the opposite direction and everything this morning. So I left really early because there was road construction and everything on the way in. They're expanding the turnpike, and they actually shut down the northbound turnpike. It was a mess when I was only about halfway here. But I got here really early, long before you got here, Mike. And I park on over here on the side of the building where I can see my car from the studio. And the reason I do that is my old car, I used to park it over here, and every time there were so many dents put in my car by people, and there have been no dents in this car since I parked it over here. But there's, these offices that are outside down here. I'm walking by, somebody came out, scared the living you-know-what out of me. And I usually, when I come to the radio station, I don't want to talk about this too much. Most of the time, not always, but most of the time, I have my Glock or my 38. And I did not today. And let me tell you something. That will not happen again. I was terrified. And this was really bad too, because I had to go to the bathroom. I was afraid to go to the bathroom. I came in, the door, and they didn't just open the door. There was like a noise, like somebody had pushed on the door, and it didn't open all the way, and there was noise inside. They have these offices down here. It's completely black. It's like 5:15 in the morning, or I was doing a live stream on YouTube, and I just stopped it and got out of the car. And it scared, they were making noise with the door, and I didn't run, because, but I came in the building really fast, shut the door, and came up the stairs. I had to go to the bathroom, like, really super bad. I'm like, I'm not going in the bathroom because I don't want to be trapped, because, there's a code to get in the bathroom. Maybe they got the combination. I don't know. But I knew they didn't have the combination to get into the radio station. But they changed the combination at the radio station recently, right? And I know what and I thought I couldn't remember what it was. So I had to look, because you would send me a text, and I saw it. I got in, and I'm like, out of all days not to have my gun, I was really scared. And I was really scared. So then I come in, I set up everything, and I was like, well, I got to go to the bathroom before I go on the air. And I've never been so scared going to the bathroom as I was today. That was a record time, because it's all the way at the end of the hall. Oh, my goodness. But I don't think I will come to the radio station without my pistol or my Glock again. Not that I wanted to use it or would have pulled it out, but I would have felt a lot more confident, because it felt like, I'm sure it was fine. It felt like there was a burglar down there in those outside offices, is what it sounded like to me. And I come by, and they think I'm a witness. I'm dead. I don't think I will ever do that again. I will never come here without protection again. That was really, really scary. Anyway, I couldn't drive off. I was like 20 feet from my car. To get back to my car, I'd have to go by where they were. Oh my goodness! But everything's okay. But I would have felt much better if I had my gun. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. All right. Now, I would have said I almost had a heart attack, but I know that's not going to happen, because when I went to life imaging for my heart scan, that was a day. Okay. So I go to life imaging with a salesman from the radio station. And we're over there, and they're explaining to me the whole process and everything else. And I didn't even hear it. I was really nervous, because I've told you guys, my cholesterol's been so high for so many years. every doctor I've ever seen for the last 20 years said, Brian, you were going to have a heart attack in your 50s. Well, now I'm in my 50s. I was sweating. I was like in another place. And when I went to the scan, I told the salesman, I said, hey, don't leave, stay here. It's only going to take a few minutes to get the scan. It takes like a couple minutes. But I think they're going to tell me I've got blockage and I've got problems and I'm going to have to go from here to the ER. Okay? And so can you just wait here until I get back from the scan and I can call my wife and let her know? And maybe you can drive me to the ER because I don't know if I'll be. I was that. So when I got the scan, they gave me the results, and then they told me, you didn't hear anything we said earlier. They said, no. They said, I could tell. You were like, really? I really was. And the peace of mind that I have because I had the heart scan at Life Imaging is life-changing. I know that I have a heart of a 25-year-old now. No blockage and no plaque buildup. It's absolutely amazing. And I've been living with that fear for many, many years. Life Imaging have locations in Palm Beach, Broward, Dade, and in Orlando. All right? Give them a call. And while you're over there, make sure you ask about their full-body cancer screening and virtual colonography and say goodbye to sedation. Call right now for your free heart scan with a few minimum requirements valued at $699. From your cell phone, dial pound 250, say free heart scan, and you'll be connected in seconds. That's pound 250, just say free heart scan, and you will be connected in seconds. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
On the line is Jamie LeeZep from Swift Tax. Jamie, a lot of people missed the tax deadline on April 15th. Not only is it not too late for them to file, but they may have, with the new tax code, a huge refund coming that they're leaving on the table, right?
Absolutely, Brian.
Scared? Well, because
Your taxes and you've been avoiding it because you're worried
the
about penalties.
delays re-engaged, delays on, and the step.
Huh?
I've
noticed a car parked out here lately.
Yeah, I saw the car. It was like a black car.
Yeah, and sometimes it's parked in the front too.
And the door, it was, like if you open a door and it's locked, but it makes a noise. It was like that kind of noise. And I thought, that sounds like a burglar. And like I scared them. Yes. Yeah, exactly. No, it was scary. It was scary.
The only time I ever had an encounter was a homeless person sleeping in front of the double doors.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, walk away, try to go to the back. That door was locked, was back in front. I'm like, start to wake you, like.
One time at one of our studios, because I always get first, right? There was a bunch of trash in front of the front door, and I opened the door. There was a guy sleeping under it in the front door of the radio station. Oh my God! That was really scary because he just got up like, "What are you doing?"
What are you doing?
Exactly. So that's what. So that's. I don't. Not many calls. But you're on hold, Stan. Well, didn't she jump
Yeah.
off the building or something? And she injured herself.
Probably more.
Yeah, exactly. But she wasn't paralyzed before.
Only that, when you finish your documents and you leave this world.
A new story. These are error acts. Call 855.
Business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers, whatever car or truck.
No, it was scary.
I get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445.
And so that's.
Over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number
Maybe no. Maybe you just have bad information.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All righty, we're back 21 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show. Our number is 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Chicago.
Hey, Chicago. What's on your mind?
I just want to know what happened to the conservative party of like right now we just reached $40 trillion in debt. And I haven't heard no Republican, I haven't heard you talk about it. Like what happened?
Well, haven't heard no Republican is a double negative, which means you've heard all Republicans talk about it.
I haven't heard you. How about that?
Haven't heard me what?
Mention anything about the debt or the $2 trillion deficit?
Well, no, I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad you brought it up because I meant to at some point during the show today. But since you brought it up, I'll talk about it now. What we found out through America's greatest journalist, Nick Shirley, and also a lot of the great work done by Elon Musk's Doge, is that the number one reason for the national debt are the Somali pirates in Minnesota and the Democrat Party with their Medicaid fraud operation that they've got going on from sea to shining sea, where they're taking hundreds of billions of dollars and stealing it.
Part of the budget. What are you talking about?
You mean they budget in Democrat theft and fraud?
The budget was already passed under Trump.
Well, wait a minute. Wait. Hold on, no. Hold on, I'm confused. You're telling me that part of the budget is for Democrat financial crimes? That's news to me.
No. Once again, the budget was passed under Trump. The current budget that we have right now in this country is running a $2 trillion deficit. Okay, so the funds that is restricted that you say, oh, they're stealing, they're doing this, doing that, already accounted for.
Well, if I told you. Well, I would like us to have a balanced budget, and I think the best thing to do is to start with ending the Democrat Medicaid fraud in Minnesota and in California and around the country. Well, I'm telling you, that's where I would begin.
Okay, what I'm saying is this: on top of the budget, Trump is announcing an additional $500 billion for the military. Are you okay with that?
For the military, sure.
Okay, so you want more debt to be spent? More debt to be
I don't know, but I would rather spend money. I love how these liberals are all of a sudden fiscal conservatives. I love it. I never thought I'd hear it. All of a sudden, you're concerned. I would rather spend the money on the military than I would on a bunch of illegals that you brought over here who are draining our system.
Well, what about the $300 billion on the ballroom? Are you okay with that as well?
The ballroom, the ball, yes, and you should be okay with the ballroom. The ballroom is not for Trump; it's for all presidents in the future, okay? And the ballroom is, excuse me, I'm responding to your question. Not that you care for an answer, but people in the audience, I want them to hear this, okay? The ballroom is a cover story. It is not really a ballroom they are building. They are building a new bunker underneath the White House, which has been under the East Wing, for the latest possible attacks on this country so that the future presidents can be safe. The reason the ballroom is so large is so that the entire government can operate there. Inside of that so-called ballroom, which is, like I said, just a cover, there's a drone airport to protect the White House grounds from attack. There's a hospital, and the size is so that they can run the entire government during whatever attacks the bad guys put on us. And you know, you're not stupid. You know the ballroom's a cover story.
$80 million in upgrades that he's doing to the White House and the rest of the statues and all that stuff.
Well, I'm not, listen, you ask a question, I give you an answer, you don't like it, and then you go on to 3 more questions. I mean, I'm not going to go from one question to the next. I answer every question you asked. You don't give me the courtesy of a response, even though I respond to your questions. You just feed me more questions.
Well, I'm just concerned on what happened to the conservative Republicans.
Well, I don't. Since when are you Democrats fiscally conservative? When Trump's president.
Mm-hmm. Without government continue to waste money.
Where? Where's the money being wasted? What would you like to shut down?
What you mean shut down? We need to reform a lot of things in this country.
No. Oh, oh, you want to have a smaller military?
No, not a smaller military. We need to stop with the neocons and wasting money in military contracts.
All I'm hearing are slogans from you. What do you slogans? Neocons and all this stuff. So what you want to do? Excuse me. What you want to? We have not spent $100 billion on this war.
According to our Secretary of War, we have.
No, excuse me. Most of the weapons and things that have been expended here are things that have already been bought. This has really just cost gas money for the planes and the ships.
Regardless, there's still $100 billion being spent on the war. There's no end in sight. Okay, we don't know. Right now, only one ship passed through the Strait of Hormuz.
So says you.
Right now, crude oil is $90 a barrel now.
I filled up my. I went to the gas station yesterday. I filled up my car for $3.54 a gallon.
Okay, what was the price last year at this time for you?
Well, I'm looking. I don't know.
Like something maybe.
Well, at 354 is okay. 354 is okay.
Oh, it's okay, but I guarantee you it's more than what you was paying when Trump entered office.
Well, okay. So not only are you fiscally conservative with the government, you're worried about my personal budget too. You're such a nice guy. I appreciate. Listen, I got to run Chicago. Maybe you should be concerned about all the murders in the streets of Chicago. How about that? Let's take our break for the bottom of the hour. My name's Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again.
You're gonna really love it.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. From the All-Year Cooling Weather Center, South Florida's #1 choice for same-day AC service and installation. Here's your oldies forecast.
Skies will be mostly sunny today with a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon. Highs in the mid-90s. For the weekend, skies will be partly cloudy both Saturday and Sunday. A high both days of 93 and a 50% rain chance.
Weather brought to you by All-Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All-Year family is here to serve your family all year long.
And you should be okay with the ballroom. The ballroom is not for Trump, it's for all presidents in the future. Okay? And the ballroom is, excuse me, I'm responding to your question. Not that you care for an answer, but people in the audience, I want them to hear this, okay? The ballroom is a cover story. It is not really a ballroom they are building. They are building a new bunker underneath the White House. Where?
OTP action, Saratoga, the $1 billion Pacific Classic, and more from tracks across the country. Visit the paddock to catch all the action on over 140 HD TVs, plus great food, drinks, and friendly service. Check out the fall tribute dinner show celebrating Queen, CCR, the Beach Boys, Bee Gees, ABBA, Fleetwood Mac, and more. Get show dates, tickets, and all the details at ppkennelclub.com.
Distributed Energy Infrastructure LLC as a senior project manager opening in Stuart, Florida. Telecommute OK leads project management and operations activities under the direction of the EVP in coordination with company leadership. Salary $160,000 per year. BS plus 5 years experience required. Send resume to adebell@distributedei.com and reference job number RH100.
Brian Craig here. When it comes time to get my blood work done, I don't have time to spend hours in the doctor's office or waiting hours in one of those big labs. That's why I do any lab test now in Boca and any lab test now at Coral Springs for all of my lab work. Their techs are highly skilled and professional, and their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest in lab work you'll find anywhere. Appointments aren't necessary. Doctor's orders and prescriptions, they're not needed. I'm in and out in 15 minutes or less. I get the results the next day in my email box, and they also send it to my doctor. There's lots of any lab test nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Any lab test now of
Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza. That's where the Western Beef is, between Palmetto Park Road and Hillsborough Boulevard on the east side of State Road 7, 441. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood by the Coral Square Mall. Call Any Lab Test Now of Boca at 561-237-5009. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs number is 954-906-5983. And don't forget to mention that you heard about them on the radio.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 49 years on the air.
All right, we're back, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Brian, good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. What do you have for us this morning?
This morning I was going to talk about the importance of how you leave your assets in trust to your loved ones. You want to make sure that not only that they receive it, but the right people are named. You want to make sure that they're able to receive it. You worked hard your whole life. You've done everything you're supposed to do. Work hard, save, and then when that time comes, you want to leave it to the people that you want to leave it to. And if they lose it, then they'll lose that all more. And it's very easy that they could end up losing it. I'm not just talking about spending it all down, which of course that could be an issue itself. That, so sometimes we have to protect that person against themselves if they're not capable, whether it's because they're too young, they're not responsible. But you also want to protect them from losing their assets from various outside situations, such as a divorcing spouse, or if they get sued or have creditors, anything like that. It's not automatically protected just by either the state of Florida rules of necessity. If you do nothing, it's going to go where the state of Florida says it's going to go, and it won't be protected. And even if you have a regular will or trust, very unlikely that you have this protection. And that's why we offer a free review of your current estate plan, and we will let you know if you have what we call this bloodline protection in the plan to make sure that your hard-earned assets that you leave to the people that you love is going to be protected.
Yeah, and I know some people say, well, I've never been sued. I'm not going to be. The only people that get sued are the people that have money. And you come into an inheritance, you'd be surprised how many people all of a sudden come out of the woodwork and say, I think I'm going to sue you. It happens all the time, Barry, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It also happens that good people who, it's not just because somebody has a windfall of money that people are going to sue.
Yeah.
Bad things happen to good people.
Yes.
Any of us could get into an accident that was our fault. We
That's
could
true.
attention, people on their phone, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you make a mistake and you'll get sued and you could lose.
Everything, yeah. And you don't want your kids in a lawsuit to lose everything that you worked and struggled and saved up for your family after you were gone. Call the Siegel Law Group and schedule your no-charge in-office consultation. Toll free 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Barry, have a great weekend. We'll talk next week.
You too, Brian.
All right, take care, take care. It's so interesting how liberals are such pod people, right? All of a sudden yesterday, something went off and they all told themselves, "Oh, okay, $40 trillion." They're all they're like in unison. And this week, they have had three what I would call manufactured stories. Right here we are Friday. So what did we start the week with? We started the week with the starving sailors and Marines on the Abraham Lincoln. That was Monday. That story didn't stick. No, it just didn't because it's absurd. So then they manufactured another story. The president is having an affair, right, with Natalie Harp, right? That's, that one obviously was falling apart for them. So then they come, now here we are on Friday. They started this one yesterday. They have a new one. And this is the debt. Now, this one's going to go away faster than any of them. You know why? Because it's hard for the liberals to credibly criticize the debt when they have this fraud operation going on. And you heard the caller from Chicago. I love what he said when I pointed out, well, let's start with the Somali pirates and the Democrat. Oh, that's already been factored into the budget. Oh, okay. Okay. So they factor in Democrat fraud into the budget? Are you kidding me? You know, and the Democrats are in a state of panic as well as civil war within their own party right now, and they don't know what to do. They've had this, they keep auditioning these candidates. They're desperate to get a man to be the face of their party, right? So they started with Graham Plattner, then they didn't know about the Nazi tattoo, and then when he had a Nazi tattoo over his heart, that was the end of that. Right? Well, the rape allegation, too, that they used to get him out. Then they had Abdul. You know, Abdul has on his bookshelf in his living room a book written by an unindicted co-conspirator of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, the first Al-Qaeda attack on the World Trade Center. It's on his bookshelf in his living room, Abdul. They thought Abdul was going to be the big male savior, and then that's fallen apart. Then they had Ossoff with the Natalie Harp thing, and even with his own people, he got a booze from the crowd when he brought it up. That's fallen apart. So now they're moving on to the budget deficit. Give me a break, right? This is their third story this week. Get some candidates, get rid of these Democrat socialists, come up with a platform, you know, and try to present something. None of it's working. All right, let's go back to the phones. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, it's Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug.
Okay. Yeah, man, you do a great job in trying to teach people who are not thinking correctly. But unfortunately, sometimes they seem to be listening, but most of the times it seems that it goes in one ear and right out the other. Man, I'm telling you, some of these people are just, the program is just not to be educated, I guess, and they just don't want to learn. I was talking to somebody the other day, and we're talking about the state reducing our real estate taxes. Well, where's the money going to come from? I explained to them, we used to be $30 billion, and now it's $60 billion going up. So if we cut down a little bit, we could still have no taxes on people with homestead exemption. What's his answer? Where's the money going to come from? I just explained to him where the money.
Florida has a huge surplus of money, right? A huge surplus of money. And, you know, Byron Donalds he's released his first campaign commercial since winning the nomination. It's one where he's playing basketball with his three sons. And, and the first thing he says is on the property taxes. That's the biggest issue for Florida voters, is getting rid of the homestead property tax.
But they've all been brainwashed that, if you stop the property taxes, no money, and we're going to have any services. And I'm telling you, they just don't understand the math. $30 billion before, 8 years ago, now it's $60 billion. If we bring it down to $50 billion, there's no tons of money.
Listen, when you throw money out there like that, numbers, it means nothing. I mean, I didn't even hear any of it myself. Okay, listen, how many dog parks are in your neighborhood? Exactly. I mean, how many do you need? You know, like in my neighborhood, I have so many dog parks. You know, there's one dog park in my neighborhood. It has it's got for big dogs. There's one whole park. They got multiple parks at one thing, right? For the extra large dogs, like if you have a Great Dane, right? It's got like a park for like Great Dane sized dogs. Then it's got one for large dogs, like German Shepherds and Dobermans. Then they got a medium-sized dog park. They got a small size and a teacup one. I mean, what the hell? What's with all the 4 or 5 dog parks? You know, I mean, we got 2. You know, and look at the libraries. You know what public libraries are? Do you know what public libraries are? Well, no. What they really are? Public libraries are homeless camps. It's where the homeless people go and hang out all day. Who goes to the public library to get a book these days? right? They're exactly. They're for the homeless. You know, the last place you want to send your kid is to a public library because it's filled with drug-addicted homeless people. A lot of them probably sex offenders and have warrants. So what do we even need these things for anymore, right? They're homeless encampments.
They use the library to use it for their public bedrooms. Anyway, it's the same. I try to explain this. You know, they spend money. We have our own version of those that found that all this waste that's being done in Florida. Broward County was the second worst, and that's where we'll be able to take
the DeSantis was talking about this yesterday or the day before about all the money that he's putting in the bank account of Florida, that we have such a budget surplus, right? You know, see, the state of Florida is not just a large state, it's a rich state. And the elimination of the property tax is only on your homesteaded property. So there's still, any commercial property would still have it. Anybody that owns a second property that's like has an Airbnb, or they have a second home, or something. And plus we've got tourists, right? We talk about cruises. 80% of cruises in the United States leave out of Florida. And 80% of cruises in the world leave out of the United States. So, so almost so we're the cruise capital, we got Disney and all that stuff, we got the beaches, there's plenty, believe me. Florida has money to burn.
Yeah, I mean, they're picking on just the poor people who own their house. What about the people who are renting? That doesn't affect anything. The owners of the apartment houses, they're still paying the real estate.
Well, it's not going to pass. 60% of people have to vote for it to pass, because it's a Florida state constitutional amendment, because the property taxes are done at the county level. So that's why you hear Byron Donalds not talking about that so much. He's got some other thing that he's going to do. And if they eliminate it for seniors, I'll be fine with that, because I'll be one. At what year are you considered a senior?
I guess 65. I don't know.
65? Can't it be? Can't you can take Social Security at 62, right?
Yeah, that's true.
The AARP said this AARP has been sending my wife and I stuff in the mail for years. I don't know, so. But if they do it for seniors, I'll settle for that, because my mom will have no property tax, right? And in a few years I won't have any. So it should be gone.
It's just that the other side and the people in government who are trying hard to make sure that doesn't get passed.
Yeah, but Democrats are stupid. I have never seen a tax on the ballot in Florida that did not pass, right? Liberals go out and they always vote to raise the taxes.
I don't know why.
I mean, how many fire departments do we have? I drive by and all they're doing is sitting out there washing the trucks all day or playing basketball. I mean, come on.
And then the show the waste. Coral Springs built the new city center for $70 million.
Oh, it looks nice though. I saw it. It's beautiful. It's right down the street from Wings Plus. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, right down the street.
Yeah.
$70 million. If you look at the square footage, they could have built that for $50 million, but they just
Listen, this is what I tell you guys, okay? People in the government, the Democrats, they view humans as organisms that excrete money for them to take from us and spend on garbage you don't need. That's it. That's right. All right, Doug, gotta run. If you're on hold, stand by. A lot of people on hold haven't really been going to the calls too much, but trying to raise the quality. We've had some good calls. We've started to raise the quality. All right, we're going to take our last break of the second hour and be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
This is Dr. Phil Appleton. I'm a chiropractic physician. I've seen thousands and thousands of patients in my career. I've been a chiropractic physician here in Pompano Beach for 40 years. We're open 6 days a week. If you have sciatica, you have bursitis, you have tendonitis, you're tired of taking the pills, the drugs, the injections, and you heard that you have to live with it, well, there's a lot of times you you don't have to live with it. I've had great success with helping people. My testimonials are marvelous with patients. They love the treatment. There's no injections. There's no medication. There's no surgery. There's none of that. It's strictly either the laser, the acupuncture I do, or shockwave therapy I do. Open 6 days a week. Come in for the free consultation and be willing to look at you and help you.
Take advantage of that no-charge consultation with Dr. Appleton. Remember, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com.
Hi, I'm Sloan Smith. At All Year, we offer same-day AC service and installation. Need it stay cool? Yes, all year. Need help today? Yes, all year. Zero down financing? Yes, all year. We're South Florida's #1 for comfort because our family is serving your family all year. Call us today at 833 all year. That's 833 all year.
For a limited time, save up to 30% off air conditioners and repairs with All Year Cooling. When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. This is Richie the bus driver.
Yeah, this is Richie, Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years. He put dentures in my mouth that are a lot cheaper than anybody else. And he's excellent and no pain. I recommend this guy. To me, he's the best ever.
Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All righty, we are back. All right, let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Chris?
Hey, Chris. What's up, Chris?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, I'll just talk about the last couple of things that hurt me. First of all, your gotcha caller.
Which one?
Oh, the one that, he's asking you questions. He doesn't want the answers. He just wants gotcha. As soon as you give him a fact or truth,
Yeah.
he's trying to move on to the next thing, but not acknowledging or
Yeah. Well, I'm sure in his personal life, he's only worried about himself and the person he's with not receiving anything too. But that guy, it's an interesting thing because these liberals, they're talking about the deficit, right? And they want to have a balanced budget and get rid of the deficit. So really, what they're saying is they want to make America great again. They want us to be, be debt free and have a balanced budget and make America great again. So I guess they've been red pilled.
Well, absolutely. I mean, when you talk about the bias and double-edged sword, it's just stupid to realize that that's what it's all about. I mean, and all you have to do is think about it. Hey, compared to the last administration, like you said, between the open borders and you name it, they're great spenders of other people's money, especially taxpayers.
Yep.
Half of them have their own hands in the cookie jar. Like, the ones that made it rich, like up there in Minnesota and all that.
I have never, today is the first time that I've ever heard where you hear from liberals that are concerned about government spending. I mean, come on, think about it. When have you ever heard a liberal call a talk show complaining about government spending? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the library, now, I went to Broward County Library yesterday. I was on the road to print some documents that were recently emailed. And first of all, I was floored about the money that was in there. I mean, they have chairs with wheels on them to scoot around conveniently. So nice. And then within a minute, there was a homeless encampment. And then the guys...
Really? What library was this?
It's the Hollywood, the one that's near the Hollywood City Hall.
Oh, that's the. Oh, yeah. I would. Yeah, Young Circle and all that.
Exactly, and so there's that first circle, and the library's there and completely comfortable. Go and get their AC. Some of them look creepy. I'm like, wow, okay.
The one in downtown Fort Lauderdale is the worst, because in downtown Fort Lauderdale, if you drive by, this is so true. You drive by the Broward County Library with your car windows down, you can. The homeless. It's a smell. It kind of reminds me, if you've ever been to a dairy farm. You ever been to a dairy farm? There's a smell on a dairy farm that's so bad you can almost you taste it. That's what that's what it smells like with the homeless. It's just the worst.
And I went down to check into the Jewish meeting like last year, and off of Andrews there, like you said, that library's not that far. And I thought it was getting better, and when I saw, I was like, wow, how are they allowing this? But
Well, you know, in Palm Beach, it's a little different. Like in the public libraries in Palm Beach, you don't see the homeless because we don't let them panhandle on the street corners like they do in Broward. So the homeless have migrated to Broward, but they are scary down there. I got to tell you, you do not want to let your children go to a public library alone in Broward County. You just don't. It's not safe.
no, you're right.
Uh,
It's interesting you brought it up. I was like, wow, this happened the first time in years. I couldn't tell you the last time. I was in Broward County.
Why were you in go to the library? You say you call from Pompano. Why do you go to the Young Circle Library?
Well, it's Pompano, you know what I mean? So I have,
Oh.
Send some, post some notices and,
Wait a minute. You have multiple properties. You're a black man in America. These Democrat socialists say that there's this racial inequality and economic inequality. How can a black man in America have properties? I don't understand.
oh, that's just convenient to speak. But, well, I only have two, but I work
Only
for
two.
management.
Ah, I see.
And they 90% of their business is Airbnb.
Oh, Airbnb. There's an Airbnb next door to my mother's house, and it's actually worked out pretty good. It's better than the neighbors that you know a lot of times.
Oh, right. They do well. And Florida's a good sell, as you mentioned earlier. So,
DeSantis has talked about this with the elimination of the homestead property tax. The Airbnb people will cover a lot of that.
oh, sure. And they're doing well. I mean, Florida is a go-to.
That's right. All right, I got to run, Chris, but I appreciate the call. All right, take care. Now, I wanted to share this. Jill Biden did an interview, okay, and what she said was insane, okay. Now, the person that interviewed her, I cannot remember this girl's name. She's very successful. She's like worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And she was on, I don't know her name, but she was on the first season of Big Brother, way back when. And at the very end, something comes up. This is Jill Biden sitting down talking about Joe in the first debate. Wow. So Joe Biden said that Joe Biden's drink may have been laced with something? He was president of the United States at the time of this debate. Who could have laced his drink? What did they lace it with? And how did that happen? What a strange thing to say. Why would she say something like that? Remember there was one event when she was on stage with him and she was seen handing him a pill? You guys remember that? I do. Yep. These things happen. One thing I am happy about, though, we don't have to hear about the Bidens too much anymore. Just like we don't have to hear about the Obamas too much. I'm glad they're both kind of out of our lives. But it's really scary that she would so casually say that somebody gave the president of the United States, they slipped him something in his drink. Why would that even occur to her? I mean, wouldn't she say, absolutely not, he's the president, there's security? She didn't say that. So it makes me wonder. I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret, home of the metabolic reset. I tell you, it feels so good getting clothes that are size small. It really does. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And every once in a while, I'll still come across some old clothes that are too big to fit me anymore. Sometimes it's a shirt, sometimes it's a pair of pants, or even underwear. And it feels so great when you come across things that used to be tight and they're falling off your body. It feels good because it shows you that you lost all that weight and what you used to, and you have more energy, you feel better. And the real amazing thing about Coastal Weight Loss Secret is because Coastal Weight Loss Secret reset my metabolism. Losing the weight was so easy with their program, and keeping it off has been completely effortless for me. It really has. I haven't gained back any weight. I wear a size small shirt. I used to wear a large. Now I wear a size small. It's absolutely amazing. I've been on one diet program, Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and it worked. But keeping the weight off, because Dr. Zuckerman at Coastal Weight Loss has developed this metabolic reset, keeping the weight off, not only has it been without effort, it just is. I don't keep track of anything. I'm not counting anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm just keeping the weight off, and it's awesome. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call and schedule your no-charge consultation. Remember, Coastal Weight Loss Secret offers virtual appointments, so if you can't make it into the office or no matter where you're located in the United States, give them a call and schedule your no-charge consultation. 561-359-3418. 561-359-3418. That's 561-359-3418. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, boy, this is good. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Me?
Yeah, you. Rick? Okay.
Sorry, I accept your apology.
For what? Oh, you're that crazy guy that called yesterday. Why are you on a speakerphone? Did they have you strapped to the bed? You can't hold the phone? What's going on?
Sorry, I accept your apology.
What apology? I'm not apologizing to you.
You on my TV and talk on the phone.
I
hear myself on TV.
I know. Isn't it amazing? Whoever would have thought you would be on TV? I'm not apologizing to you. You should apologize. You should apologize to me. Hey, listen. Have a great weekend. Oh my goodness. That's that crazy guy from yesterday. Remember him? Totally nuts. Did I not pick that up? He said. I asked him what he did for a living. He said a home health care person, and I said, "Are you sure you're the home health care aide, not the patient?" And then he admitted. And then I got a good ear. You guys think I don't listen to the callers? I listen to everything the callers say. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Jeff from Maine.
Hey, Jeff. What's up?
My voice is really low.
I know. I know it is on YouTube. I know.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, a lot of these liberals try to talk with them in the chat, and most of them I have to block the ones that go off the far end and talk complete nonsense. But the reason why the other liberals don't call in, they hear how stupid and ignorant yet the libs that do call in are.
That's true. Oh, Jeff, I'm up against the break. I got to run. I've only got seconds, but good point. Thanks for the call. We'll take our break for the top and be right back.
WDJA AM Delray Beach, also heard in St. Lucie County on 1590 WPSL Port St. Lucie and in Martin County on 1450 WSTU Stewart. We are South Florida's home.
Yeah, I know guys, there's a little technical issue with hearing the callers. I can't do anything about it. So I am well aware. I can't do anything about it.
CodeRedRoofers.com. Here's your oldies forecast.
Skies will be mostly sunny today with a chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Highs in the mid-90s. For the weekend, skies will be partly cloudy both Saturday and Sunday. A high both days of 93 and a 50% rain chance.
Weather brought to you by Code Red Roofers. Roofers who respond. Serving South Florida for over 20 years. Promoting integrity over profitability. And focused on doing right over being right. Protect your home or office today with Code Red Roofers. Call 844-4-CODE-RED. CodeRedRoofers.com. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
On the Turnpike northbound, watch for construction. Boynton Beach Boulevard to Lake Worth Road. Beeline Highway, there is construction. Blue Heron Boulevard to North Lake Boulevard. Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line. Bound 250 keyword West Palm traffic. I'm Ron Hersey.
That's your traffic brought to you by PBKC. More sun, more fun, more winnings this August at PBKC's Poker Room. The excitement never stops with high hands every 15 minutes. Every day, 9 a.m. to midnight. A $15,000 cash giveaway and a $100,000 progressive weekends. Then hit our exciting table
Have a
games,
smaller
including
military?
Ultimate Texas Hold'em and 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum bet all day, every day.
All I'm hearing are slogans from you. What do you, slogans, neocons and all this stuff. That is so strange. I think I got might have the call thing figured out.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right. We are back. It is the 8 o'clock hour already. Can you believe it? The show is flying by. And it is Friday. You know, on Fridays, it is open phones. You can call in about any and everything on your mind. You don't even have to talk about the things that I bring up, of course. But it'd be nice if you did, because I think I brought up a lot of good stuff that I covered in the beginning. But there's a few other things I want to get into on the program. And if you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Okay, now there's a story going on right now about the press secretary, and this is an absolutely just mystery, but also kind of interesting. And it's about who the new press secretary is going to be. And I was reading some stories yesterday that were a little different, right? I mean, and it looks like Scott Jennings is in first place to replace Caroline Leavitt as the White House press secretary. And, my first pick was Carrie Lake, but I haven't heard her talked about in the discussions at all, really. Why that is, I don't know. But, Trump just named her ambassador to Jamaica, so she's not completely out of the Trump orbit, but there's been no talk of her being press secretary. But again, these things in the media can be misdirections from very good PR agents, because yesterday there were a couple of stories about Scott Jennings, and one of them was one I had not heard before. The first thing that dropped was that Scott Jennings had a private White House meeting with Susie Wiles about being press secretary. And then later in the day, Mediaite, which is liberal, but Mediaite had a story that Scott Jennings had been sending clips of him to the White House defending Natalie Harp, which I thought was a little strange thing to do, but it was reported yesterday. Maybe that's normal. Maybe, I don't know. I don't remember it ever being publicly known that someone was actually lobbying and auditioning and sending literally audition tapes to become the White House press secretary. So I don't know how true that is. I don't know. But I know the media is reporting Scott Jennings. So I don't know if he's really at the top of the list, if he has a good PR agent. He could be at the top of the list. It could be real. Or it's just the media trying to manifest it into happening. But Scott Jennings, everyone who's MAGA loved Scott Jennings until about a month ago when he talked about that phone call that he had with Mitch McConnell. And ever since then, he's kind of been on the outs with MAGA people. People don't trust him. But he still does good. You know, when you watch those White House press briefings with Caroline Leavitt, she does a very good job, but she's not really into the humiliation and calling them out. She handles them well, but she does it politely. You know, Scott Jennings on CNN, he humiliates these people with very little effort. And they have him on panels with top people like David Axelrod. So he's not going up against lightweights all the time. He's going up against the liberal best that CNN has. And it's usually him at a table with multiple people filleting all of them. And President Trump does like Scott Jennings because he's mentioned him more than once in speeches at Trump rallies. So it wouldn't surprise me if he became the guy. And President Trump said yesterday that he wants a man to replace Caroline Leavitt. Okay, fine by me. But yeah, I know, you know, whatever. So whether it's him or not, I don't know. But if it were Scott Jennings, it would be must-see TV, because it would become a debate where he would be humiliating them during the press briefings. And I think Trump would like that. And it's important because the press briefings, as good as Caroline Leavitt is, she's been out a lot on maternity leave. They've had a lot of fill-ins. And the White House press briefings haven't been all that eventful in the last few months because of that, right? They really haven't. I mean, there hasn't been, if you think about it, there haven't been a lot of sound bites in the news coming out of the White House press briefings, and President Trump wants the press briefings to be meaningful and exciting. So Scott Jennings would be the perfect pick for it, and I'd be very, very excited about that. Whoever President Trump picks, I'm sure will do a great job, but these people in the White House press corps, it would be nice to see them humiliated from time to time. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Carlos.
Hey, I got a question for you. You hear that communist Nixon, the way she said that she's going to whip that lady, that white lady, and then that white lady's going to call her senator?
She's going to whip her? Like whoop her? Could you imagine if Ashley Moody, could you imagine if Ashley Moody had said, "I'm going to whip Nixon in the," oh my God, the NAACP, they'd be all over her. Yeah. Yeah. That's correct. Democrats have immunity. They're like James Bond. They can do whatever they want to do. Is this the one where she's like in the bookstore sitting down? Because I think I heard that one yesterday. I'll look for it. Oh, think about it. There must be a lot of black people out there that have nightmares now, right? They, you know, anytime you mention whip, they get upset. Oh well, you know the thing about Nixon, you know, she's the best candidate we could possibly hope for. She is quickly in the national news. Angie Nixon, she's the Democrat socialist that beat Vindman, and she's the Democrat nominee for Senate. She is quickly becoming the face of Democrat socialism, and that's not a mistake. Okay, our people are doing it. But I will say this: the president is having a rally over the weekend for Darlene Graham, and they're really giving Darlene Graham a pretty hard time. You know, they asked her a question about Taiwan and all of that, and said she didn't know too much about it and all that. So what? How many people out there really, I think too much concern about Taiwan is put into these elections. They always ask about Taiwan. You notice that? They always ask about Taiwan. I really don't care. And this is what I care about, okay? Getting the Save America Act passed. That's really all I care about, getting the Save America Act passed. So, ask yourself this question. If you had the choice of either saving Taiwan from being taken by the Chinese, right, or passing the Save America Act, which one would you want, right? I would want the Save America Act. I wouldn't care. I'm not saying that them taking Taiwan's a good thing, but so what? They got it's a huge country already they have. Did anything change when they got Hong Kong back in '97? No. You know what Taiwan has kind of become? It's kind of like Y2K, right? You're too young to remember the paranoia over Y2K. Oh my goodness. I remember the shows we did on Y2K. We had a guy. If you remember Y2K, the idea is that the Windows computers couldn't register the year 2000, and at midnight the planes were going to fall out of the sky, and the banks were going to close down, and you were going to lose all your money. Everything was going to, nothing would work. It was going to be like an EMP strike. And there were people on television and on the radio that were selling everything but bunkers, like in the Cold War. It was a crazy time. But when Hong Kong became China in 1997, when that British lease was up, did anything change? So, no, not at all. So who cares if they get Taiwan compared to the Save America Act? The Save America Act would solve almost all of our problems in this country. Most of the problems we have in the United States are because of the Democrats, right? And the Democrats are so overrepresented in all government everywhere, at the local, state, and of course the federal level. And we get the Save America Act in place, 3-4 election cycles, and an election cycle is every 2 years. So 3-4 election cycles, the country is going to be a different country. Because when you have to prove that you're a U.S. citizen to register to vote and have to show photo ID to vote, we're going to finally get a representative republic as opposed to what we got going on now. And all this Democrat business, think about it. If we had the Save America Act, Spencer Pratt would be the mayor of L.A. come November, right? Exactly. So I don't care what Darlene Graham knows or doesn't know about Taiwan, the South China Sea, or this or that. I don't care. I don't care. All I care about right now is getting the Save America Act passed, and then, of course, getting everything passed that President Trump wants passed. Not some rhino like Thune. Thune is a guy who has no shame. He comes out yesterday, Thune, and blames the Democrats for the Save America Act not being passed. Give me a break. It's him. And everybody knows this. We don't want another rhino. We want, if you want to call her a Trump yes man, absolutely. That's not a bad thing, right? To go to the Senate, to vote in favor of whatever President Trump wants to pass is a good thing, not a bad thing, all right? Don't let your egos, rubber stamp, we don't want the rubber stamp. Don't let your egos get in the way of what's best for the country. All right, I want to talk about Sloman Central Air Conditioning. This is, I can't find the copy, Mike, because I came up here. Maybe I'll have to do it after the break, because I don't want to, the reason I need the copy is for the phone number, but the deal is so good that I don't want to mess up the deal. I'll find the copy during the break. Hold on, I got it somewhere. I'll find it during the break. So I'll tell you about Sloman's Central Air Conditioning after the break. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name's Brian. We'll be back right after this.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
On the line is Jamie back from tax. Jamie, a lot of people missed the tax deadline on April 15th.
No.
Not only is it not too late for them to file, but they may have, with the new tax code, a huge refund coming that's leaving on the table, right? Absolutely, Brian. If you haven't filed your taxes and you've been avoiding it because you're worried about penalties or late fees, if you are anticipating a refund, give me a call. There's a good chance there is a substantial amount of money left on the table for you. Again, this is your money. You worked hard for it. Give me a
to about 3 or 4 attorneys prior. They wanted to do what they wanted to do. They didn't want to add anything extra, but Barry tailored it to my needs. And it's not only the trust. There's so many other end-of-life documents, the living will, the will, and I tailored each one of them to my liking, and they were wonderful and always, always polite. And not only that, when you finish your documents and you leave this world, your beneficiaries
Or is okay. Like Whooper?
Give the Siegel Law Group a call, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online SiegelLawGroup.com.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, visit Boca on 95.3 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
Alrighty, we're back. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. I could not find my copy, but I'm going to do it from memory. Okay, so just want to make sure. I want to make sure. I really just need the phone number, but I'm talking about Sloman Central Air Conditioning, and you know this is really amazing. I want you to understand this. If you have an air conditioning unit that's running all day long, you need a new unit. You want to call Sloman's. Not only that, if you have rooms in your house that are hot, even though you're running your air conditioning, you need a new air conditioning. And, you know, Sloman's have an incredible deal. You can get a brand new unit for just $59.99, but here's the thing on top of it. 0 down, 0 payments, 0% interest for 18 months. That's an incredible deal. It's the best deal I've ever heard on a top air conditioning like this. And think about all the money you're going to save on electricity, too, with a brand new unit that's working efficiently. And of course, your system comes with a 5-year all-inclusive service plan, which includes annual system maintenance, filter replacement, and refrigerant, so you have no annual maintenance costs. Give them a call, 561-217-COOL, 561-217-COOL. That's 561-217-COOL for Sloman's Central Air Conditioning. Okay, yes. All right, so let me get back to it. And there's so much happening. It's all good news. And, you know, I was watching one of these debates. I can't remember which one it was. I saw a clip from one of these debates this morning on X. I'm not going to play the clip. It's not important. You've heard the liberals say it, a similar thing so many times. But they asked someone, should transgendered women be allowed to play? And, oh, yes, yes. You know, you look at the things that the Democrats are supporting and advocating for right now, it is so bizarre, so strange, it's hard to even believe it is real. Now, forget about this thing that all of a sudden they're concerned about the national debt and they're, fiscal conservatives. You know, I really don't worry about the national debt personally. I don't really think that has direct impact on me or most people directly. I know that the big, beautiful bill tax cuts, now that's something that helps everyone and their personal budget at home and helps you balance your budget at home. Right? Absolutely it does. I really don't get interested in the I've never been, you know, you guys that have listened to me over the years, I have never gotten into talking about the budget and the balancing of the budget and all of that. You know, what I'm more concerned about is my own personal budget. And you look at the tax cuts, right? Republicans. This thing with eliminating property tax in Florida on homesteaded property. The Democrats nationally are in a panic over that because if we can get that done in Florida, it's going to come to other states. And they know that. And, you know, you got no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on the Social Security, although it's done through a deduction. So, you know, people on Social Security got a big deduction. They can also work a lot more than they could. There's huge deductions. I mean, there's just great benefits for people that typically don't get tax breaks. And that's what I think people are more concerned about. But it still amazes me, you know, that the liberals, they just won't acknowledge that giving tip workers and retired people these massive tax breaks is a big deal. It's life-changing money. Life-changing money. And you think about all of these Uber and Lyft drivers, right? A lot of their income are tips. Think about it, right? You tip your Uber driver, don't you? You tip your Uber driver, you tip your Door Dashers and all of that. Think about that. People that drive for DoorDash and Lyft and Uber, a lot of their income are tips, and they do not have to pay tax on those tips any longer. And the tips probably cover their gas for those jobs. All right, let's take some more calls. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Lakewood.
Hey, Lake Worth.
I love hearing your voice in the morning.
Oh, here's the setup.
You can't forget it's late tax and overtime up to $12,500.
Up to $12,500. Oh, okay. Better than nothing. You're acting like, now assuming, now I don't work for an hourly wage, so I think it's higher than that, but I'll take your word for it just for the discussion, right? I don't need to look it up. So no tax, people that are paid by the hour, not paying taxes on $12,500 is life-changing money for them.
Yeah, when you do your taxes, then...
But it's higher than that. I don't believe it's just $12,500. But even regardless. Well, yeah, I know. He's in some trouble. Yes. This is what, one thing I've noticed about liberal callers. I know you're not. I know you're not. I know. You're not a blue-haired. I know. Yes, I know. One thing I've noticed about liberals over the years, it's kind of funny, like there's fads. Right? You know any fads in your life, like parachute pants or fat laces or bell-bottom jeans? You know what a fad is? And the fads are the talking points that liberals have when they call me over the years, right? And there's a very disturbing fad with liberal men. Liberal men love to say the word pedophile. I mean, I hear it all the time, and that I don't know why you don't hear me calling people that or talking about that all the time. I don't know why you guys that are liberal are obsessed with saying that word. It's kind of weird and creepy.
I thought that would be a word that Republicans use.
Oh, wait a minute. What do you mean, Republicans? I thought you were a Republican. I thought you were one of us. Oh, you slipped.
No, I'm saying a Republican.
You said, no. You slipped. You see, listen. I saw an interview once with this woman who was a Holocaust survivor. Okay, and she was like Anne Frank. Her and her family were hiding out somewhere. I can't remember where it was. And she said her dad gave them some real good skills on surviving the Holocaust. Don't tell lies about our background, because it's hard to remember lies. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember the truth. You know what I mean? So take that advice. Okay?
What would you call Mike Caruso?
So you want to say it in a different way now? What I would call him is a man who no longer has a political future. And I saw his mugshot. He looked like hell. His life's over. His life's over.
He's got signs all over for re-election. Re-elect me in...
Well, he may be reelected as the representative for prison section 8, if they'll elect those guys. All right, take care. All right. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, Joe Thomas is here. Joe, we're up against the break, so let's take the break. Actually, take a break a minute early. Is that cool? Yeah. No one will freak out, Mike. Okay, we'll take our break. We'll come back. Jupiter Joe Thomas is here, and we'll be back right after this.
Sorry about that.
No, not at all.
I got somebody coming in at 9. And
Oh, okay, not a problem. Not a problem. Good. Do you have anything in particular you wanted to?
Yeah, I do. Roth.
Okay. Yep.
I've been on this Roth thing. I just
Okay.
for a client, and the numbers are staggering when you run these numbers.
Okay.
So I'll
okay.
As quick as you want. How you been?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Next week we'll.
Okay. That sounds good.
It's like all of a sudden the girls booking 9, 10, 11. It's all like somebody's like reviews, and it never stops.
Well, that's good.
I used to have Fridays off. Now I don't have Fridays off.
Oh.
So.
Well, if you gave your daughters Fridays off, you'd have Fridays off.
That's true.
You know?
That is true. Yeah, exactly. Oh, they leave when they want.
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding me, So anyway. Yeah, I was surprised to see Caruso, to be honest with you.
Oh my God.
I was kind of. Is it a family member from what I read?
And it was like it had to be because they had taken a trip somewhere together, a cruise. It was a cruise.
Under a child under 12.
Yeah. See, the reason they bring that up is they think that we're like oh well, they're a Republican, we're going to defend it. You know, they're out of their mind.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, exactly. These guys are nuts. It's just nuts. I don't know why they, you know. But he had threatened the family and everything, that if they turned him in and...
Yeah. And DeSantis went right away and said, look, he reminded people we have the death penalty.
Yeah, you never know.
That's kind of crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
In California, there's no problem.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. My cousin's an attorney out there. It's like, it's no big deal. Yeah.
Oh, you mean the... Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nuts.
That's just another lifestyle.
An alternative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This guy's hobbling around, I see.
Yeah, he dropped a bowling ball on his foot.
That's gotta be bad. My father one time, I'll never forget this. Yeah, I have younger twin sisters, and my old man went in and said, clean this room up, this is disgusting, your mother's getting on this.
Yeah.
He kicked the bag and had a bowling ball.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
It broke his foot.
That's funny. That's funny. Joe Thomas in studio.
In the house.
Yes. Okay, we were talking about Mike the board. I've dropped a bowling ball on his foot. Literally. I'm not kidding, right? Bowling ball.
Crazy.
I went to a bowling alley in Lima, Peru with a friend of mine once, and I couldn't even pick up the ball. It was like they built a bowling alley but had never been to one.
Wow.
And the balls were so heavy I couldn't even pick up the ball. Well, anyway, you were telling me, you wanted to talk a little bit today about Roth IRAs.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have Roth IRAs. What is a Roth, and how are you going to help these people?
So basically, anything that is an IRA is not a Roth. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. So if you have an IRA, you either have an IRA, a 401k, or you have a Roth.
Every other person I know tells me about their Roth IRA.
Yeah. Well, they don't. So most people say, I got a Roth. Well, yeah, you might have started one, but what I'm talking about is converting your IRA 401k into a Roth.
I see.
That's how you do this. So here's the deal. With a regular IRA 401k, you are going to pay taxes forever. Forever. And if you die, your wife pays the tax forever, and your kids pay the taxes forever.
Mm-hmm.
If you convert it to a Roth, you'll never pay a tax ever again.
Well, that sounds good to me.
No RMDs, no required minimum distributions, okay? No taxes when you die. You can transfer assets 100% tax-free. We just did it with a client. That's what I'm
Well, wait a minute. How is this different from? I'm not. You're the finance. See, this is why you go to the financial expert, because I don't understand any of this stuff, right? So, is this different than an annuity? What are you talking about here?
So we're talking about tax code. We're talking about tax code. You have an IRA, you have a 401k, and you want to make that money tax-free forever. Tax-free.
Forever.
Forever. You convert it to a Roth. Now, there's intricacies in it, right? And that's what I do for a living.
Okay.
This is how we do this for clients. I just did it for a client where they said, Joe, we don't need this money now. We're going to need it in the future. You can take your money now, convert it to a Roth, never pay tax again when you start taking it.
That's absolutely amazing. And, people, for the most part, they have a financial advisor they have this through, right?
Yes.
So, and I know people don't want to get confrontation. They don't want to confront their financial advisor. And I have known people that have lost money, sometimes for years, because they're afraid of calling their financial advisor and that confrontational breakup. But you handle that for them.
We'll break up with your financial advisor, no problem. In fact,
Exactly.
yesterday, the guy said to me, the husband and wife said to me, honest God, why didn't my Merrill Lynch guy tell me about this? I said, either A, he doesn't know, or B, he doesn't care. Okay? This is not about selling you something. This is about educating you, letting you know why you need a Roth IRA and not a regular 401k. And this, see, people don't get this. I have an IRA. I have a Roth. Wait a minute, your 401k is an IRA. You just don't know it.
This is amazing stuff. You know what my personal experience has been, a lot of these big, I'm not going to name any of the names, but these big companies, their managers, the company, tell them what products they're pushing.
Absolutely.
So oftentimes they're recommending and pushing things to you that aren't in your best interest,
Correct.
but they're like a car salesman. They got to get so many closes
Correct.
on
There's a
these.
quota. There's a quota.
Exactly.
And here's the deal. So we're not talking about any one product. Yes, you can do this with an annuity, but guess what? You can do this yourself. Anybody listening right now, I'm telling you right now, if you want to take your IRA, your 401k, and convert some of it or all of it to a Roth, we can show you how to do it.
Well, listen, give Joe Thomas a call. The consultation is free. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online, you can find his number at jupiterjoe.com. I can tell you're on your way to a meeting with a client because you're looking at the watch. I can tell. They're ready to go.
Brother.
All right, we'll see you, Joe. All right, Joe Thomas, give him a call, guys. All right, I do want to talk about that caller because I mentioned this to Joe Thomas during the break, and those of you watching on YouTube heard me say this to Joe, but I went up here on the radio. That last caller, that liberal guy that called about this Caruso character, and I think I still see his signs up around. Do you see his signs, Caruso? Have they taken the signs down yet? Because I've seen his signs up. I haven't noticed if they're down this week or not. But anyway, the reason that guy called about that isn't just so he could say the pedophile word. They love to say that word. Is they think that we are like them. That if someone's a Republican and they do something like that, that we're automatically going to defend and cover. And that's just not the case. There are some things that you're done forever, and that's one of them. And it's really that case with Caruso. I read the article in the local paper about it. I don't know if it was the Palm Beach Post or one of the news stations. But this guy, let me tell you, dangerous dude, because what the allegations are, he was vacationing with his family and everything else and was doing this on like family vacations to this child. And then he was threatening the family and the child, so goes the allegations, that if they reported him. I mean, this guy's a real scary, scary guy. And there used to be this TV show that was on A&E, Police Women of Broward County. Any of you guys remember that, Police Women of Broward County? And it was about 3 different police women in Broward County with BSO, and they were real cops on the job. And I remember Steve and I did a political event with the Sheriff Al Lamberti when he was sheriff of Broward County. Remember Al Lamberti? And it was at Wings Plus, and the police women of Broward County were there, and one of them was a detective, and she does the sex crime. She was the sex crime detective. And I was talking to her about a couple of the arrests I saw her make on the TV show. And I said, there was this one guy, and I mean, he just was doing it over and over. He said, they can never stop. She says, nothing you do will ever get them to stop. You can do whatever, you got to just lock them up forever and ever and ever. And they're just some of the worst criminals out there. But what happens with these callers, they get very excited over a story like that for 2 reasons. One, they love to talk about pedophiles. That's a given, right? You can tell that with these guys. The other thing is they think we're going to defend. And then the third is the next step is Epstein, Trump's best friend, which none of that is true. In fact, Trump was so just disgusted when he found out what Epstein was all about. He's the one that turned him into the Palm Beach Palm Beach Police Department, and was working as an FBI informant on him. So no, we're not going to defend these kind of things. But they create these things in their mind that just are not true. Okay, now a couple things here though that I do want to touch on before we get to the end of the show. What I was mentioning earlier, that the Democrats have had 3 manufactured issues this week, right? We started the week off with the starving sailors on the Abraham Lincoln. That story's gone. Then when that faded away, they jumped into the Natalie Harp thing, which that's already disappearing. The third is this new thing with the budget, which that's not going to go anywhere because, first of all, that's a terminally boring thing to talk about, and that's going to fade away. And what'll be next? I don't know. but it looks like Darlene Graham is going to be next. And what the rhinos are doing to Darlene Graham is disgusting. It really is disgusting. And what they're doing, maybe I'll play some of it. I wasn't going to, but maybe I will by the end. I don't know. But you saw the first one. She had a very bad moment in the debate. There's no getting around that, right? But now the rhinos are sending really campaign workers dressed kind of like in street clothes to campaign appearances and asking her questions to try to play gotcha. And Darlene Graham is not a professional politician. For the most part, by the time you get to the United States Senate, you have a lot of experience running for lower office and debating. She doesn't. So she's easily going to fall victim to this because they're doing it. And I saw her with one guy yesterday, though. She seemed to handle herself pretty well. He was talking about some data center guy that donated a lot of money to her campaign and to this PAC or something, and she handled him pretty well. I'm not worried about that. And they're calling her a Nepo senator, a Nepo this, a Nepo that. I don't consider her a Nepo senator. Her brother just died unexpectedly. Nepotism, what about Liz Cheney or George W. Bush? There's all of a sudden nepotism is bad by the left. I don't get this. Or the rhinos. Give me a break. Look at this. We got a scummy divorce thing with Max Miller going on, and his ex-father-in-law is a senator. I mean, come on. Now all of a sudden nepotism. They're bringing up nepotism. It's all nepotism in Washington, or who you know. So that's a ridiculous factor. I hope she wins. It's hard to say. They're doing a really good number on her in South Carolina. And the reason they're doing it is to stop the Save America Act. They know if she comes in January, if she's elected, that the Save America Act will pass. Thune will no longer be the majority leader, and it's the end of the party. Thune is the last of the rhinos in power. There's some rhinos still around, but he's the only one in a position of power to slow down the MAGA movement. And he's been doing it for months with the Save America Act. So all these things they're doing with, in fact, yesterday, Darlene Graham, she said, oh, you're obviously with the opposition campaign. And the guy didn't even deny it. You can tell when these guys are from the campaigns. I can't quite explain it, but they all look like they went to some fancy school and grew up in Rhode Island. And they all look like Tucker Carlson when he was young. You can spot them a mile away. They're not regular college guys or anything. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, hey, JJ. What's up?
During Trump's first, the 4-year average under Trump versus Biden, it was like 250 under Trump and 350 under Biden. That's $1 difference. And over 4 years, that's like $5,000 saved with Trump versus having to spend it under Biden. So these guys that can't, count ballots or find water to, for fires, need to stop talking about the budget and economics. And Swalwell, you had mentioned, this couldn't happen to a nicer guy. But the no videos thing, I've been looking all over the place. So they're either suppressing and pushing those down, and the FBI just went low key. I don't know. What do you think on that?
Well, I think the thing about Swalwell is about flipping him into a witness on a larger investigation. I don't think they're interested in him personally that much, and that's what they're doing.
I think it's a good get because he could be gone for a very long time. I think that's a very good theory. Scott Jennings, this is for me because he would be perfect. Number one, at CNN with Gabby the Abby there, she's constantly interrupting him, and so he'll be more in control as press secretary. I mean, he'll control the back and forth, more so than there. And he embarrasses them on CNN as it is. Just imagine him now being the one that's actually controlling the conversation. And number two, when he leaves that show, and I think they just signed this woman up. They just signed her for a contract.
Well,
that show, it's going to kill the ratings.
CNN's ratings will tank without Scott Jennings. He's saved CNN. So and that's a good point you make, because what I'm wondering is this, okay? And we're going to find out real quick. How much of this is real and how much of it is his PR agent working out some deal at CNN? You know, so you know, CNN, if people watch CNN now, and it's because of Jennings. It really is. It's, you know, he's the man who saved CNN. There has not been a single individual since Ted Turner founded CNN that's helped CNN this much. Maybe the Gulf War '91, okay? Maybe Saddam Hussein, okay, with his willing idiot Peter Arnett. But there's because that war really put them up through the, you know, up into the legitimacy. But without Scott Jennings on CNN, no one's going to watch it anymore, and they could very well lose in the ratings to MS Now, and he could definitely be. See, the thing that made me a little suspicious, it makes me wonder, is when I read in Mediaite yesterday reported that he was sending clips of himself defending Natalie Harp to the White House. Well, they got CNN on all the time at the White House. That seemed a little strange to me. Sending out the. Well, no, Mediaite's liberal. I get it, but that seemed a little strange. But maybe that's how it's done. I just don't. That sounded odd to me. So it could be a contract negotiation. Yeah, you know, I've got one big reservation about him. At the press secretary, I don't mind. I don't mind that at all. But I wouldn't necessarily be excited about him having an office. You know, he came up through the ranks through Mitch McConnell, and he worked for the George W. Bush White House, and George W. Bush. I can't remember if it was the first or second campaign with W. I can't remember. But he is very deep with those Kentucky Mitch McConnell Republicans, and those are bad dudes. So that's a big downside, and so I don't like that. And Trump would love to take him away from CNN. Yes, it would tank CNN, and Trump. You know, one of Trump's greatest assets is media manipulation, and taking the golden boy from CNN and making them irrelevant. I could see him giving him the job just to do that. Mm-hmm. All right, listen, I gotta run. I'm late for the break, but appreciate the call. Are you in pain? Go see Dr. Appleton. It's Friday, guys. It's Friday, and you can go see Dr. Appleton today or even tomorrow on Saturday without an appointment. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. And of course, the consultation is free. Don't start the weekend in pain. Start the weekend pain-free. Go see Dr. Appleton. You know, Dr. Appleton's robotic laser away pain treatment not only works, okay, it works on every type of pain that I've ever heard of. And the 7 times he's rid me of pain have been different. Sometimes aging with my arthritis he rid me of. Sometimes injuries, falling off my skateboard and things. Different types of pains, different types different parts of my body were injured and suffering, and sometimes the pain was so bad I was nearly in tears. I am pain-free. None of the pains have returned, and some of those pains were treated by Dr. Appleton years and years ago. Give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain, too. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. All right, let's check in with William Youngerman for our final gold and precious metals report of the week. William Youngerman, how the metals ending the week?
Ending very strong, Brian. The market yesterday gave us a little bit of a pullback on gold, but not much after the very high $180 gain we had this week in one day. Gold yesterday trading in a range of $4,450 on the low, all the way up to $4,542 on the high, closing out the day at $4,518.20, down $3.70, but $100 spread between the high and the low. Silver closed $1.07 up yesterday at $67.96. Platinum was up $11 at $1,827, and palladium was down $7 at $1,313 the ounce. Overnight, we saw gold trade
Wow.
$400 the ounce.
Wow.
Right now we are up $55.80. That's at $4,574 the ounce. Silver up $1.29. We got up over $70 at one point this morning. We're at $69.25 on silver.
Wow.
$1.29. Platinum up $53 at $1,880. We did get up as high as $1,912 so far. And palladium up $21 at $1,334 the ounce. So the markets are doing very well.
I often mention when we first started doing the gold report with you, gold was at $435 an ounce. And I don't remember what silver was, but I think it was in the single digits. Yeah, and you look where it is now, and it's absolutely amazing. Well, listen, guys, gold is money. As you can hear, give William Youngman a call. He opens up at 10 a.m. His number's toll-free, 800-327-5010, 800-327-5010. Stop in Boca at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And you can find both his address and phone number online at williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngman, we'll talk on Monday.
Okay, have a nice week.
All right, take care. Hey, Mike, we have recorded break? Okay, we'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Hi, it's Dr. Philip Appleton. You've been hearing my commercials about bye-bye pain, my laser weight treatment, but today's commercial and today's spot is going to be on LaPorta Roofing. What an experience I've had with him and his company. They've done a few of my friends' houses and my son and my house. There's never a downtime. They're old school, which means call them up, they'll be there. How many times have you called somebody up and they never show up, or they give you an excuse? Weather, traffic, whatever. Tom LaPorta, what a class act. The workmanship, the magnificent teamwork they have. I recommend them 100%.
Give Tom LaPorta at LaPorta Roofing a call. This number rings directly to his cell phone, 954-604-4602.
Oh, my goodness.
954-604-4602. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. 954-604-4602. LaPortaRoofing.com.
It's not broken. Spring.
Oh, good.
I got my results back yesterday.
Oh, good. That's good. I told you if it was broken, it'd be like black and blue, and I told you,
You said that,
I broke my toes, and it was all, my whole foot was like black and blue when I broke my toes twice on my right foot. Mm-hmm.
I never had it like black and blue.
We'll give you a price over the phone. New and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445. Thank you.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, and look what I have here. Remember yesterday we were talking about this love note that the New York Times said they have? I have the note, and I'm going to read it to you. And I was just reading it during the break, okay? And this is not a love note. This is a note. This is a letter written by an employee who's afraid they're going to be fired because they've been screwing up. So I'm going to read that to you in just a moment, but and it's a rather long letter. So I'm going to read it to you though in just a moment, and you can decide. But to me, this is a girl who thought she was going to be fired by the greatest president ever, Donald Trump, and she's trying to save her job. But when I read you the letter, you decide. But before I do that, I want to tell you that for the last time this week about Coastal Weight Loss Secret, the home of the metabolic reset. And, the home of the metabolic reset, I saw that when I first went over there and met with Dr. Zuckerman at Coastal Weight Loss Secret, but I didn't think too much about it because I'm going to lose the weight. And it wasn't until I lost the weight, I kept it off for a long, long time, and I've kept all the weight off for over a year. I haven't gained anything back. And you guys who watch me on YouTube, you can see, if you look at my videos on YouTube from 2 years ago and you look at me now, they're embarrassing. I should make all those videos private. People can't see. But no, my face was round, and now I got my chin, my square jaw, my flat stomach. I kept all the weight off. And I found out from Dr. Zuckerman that he reset my metabolism. You know, Dr. Zuckerman has helped thousands and thousands of people, just like me, and those of you in this listening audience that have gone to see him lose weight for years and years and years. And in that time, Coastal Weight Loss Secret has developed this metabolic reset, and it is amazing. And it's a funny thing. I was talking to Mike about this a few weeks ago before I realized that I had my metabolism reset, because somebody had asked me about this. You know, oh, how do you keep the weight off? And I said, I don't know. It just stays off. And now I know it's because he's reset my metabolism. How many times have you heard people say, oh, I can't lose weight, my metabolism, or I can't do this, my metabolism? Coastal Weight Loss Secret reset my metabolism, and they'll reset yours too. So not only do you lose the weight, but you keep it off. Give them a call and schedule your no-charge consultation. 561-359-3418. 561-359-3418, and online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. Okay, here's the letter that the New York Times obtained. I'm going to read it to you, and they were portraying this as a love letter. Not only is this not a love letter, this is a letter from an employee who is afraid that she is going to be fired and trying to save her job. Number one, the letter is typed. Love letters, you don't type love letters, you hand write love letters. Dear Mr. President, Monica Lewinsky used to call President Clinton Bill. She still does today on interviews. This is Natalie Harp's letter. Dear Mr. President, I'm sorry. I thought I was the only one left behind last night and had no idea Margot's car was also pulled over and sent back to the airport. Since I was alone in the van outside customs without my passport, I panicked and should have just called Secret Service instead of you. See, she got in trouble. She called the president, and she's not supposed to do that. I am so sorry if I was an embarrassment walking the course in Scotland. The first day, I was told there were no carts, and people walked, which is why I walked. The second day, I was specifically asked by, I forgot who his name was, but one of the main people who worked there, if I could continue walking and tell any other girls who would head out there to do the same to spare the course any more carts. If there is anything else I have done to cause you trouble, please forgive me. I know that some people have said I haven't been texting them back, and there have been some international cell issues. John was having technical issues on the plane too, so asked me to help him out. I want things to always be right between... Now again, this is a typed letter. I want things to always be right between us. I know I've been distracted all week, forgetting to eat throughout the days and even forgetting to sleep and only catching a couple hours at a time. I haven't been myself, dwelling on the past and the pain of losing my dad, and started letting the remarks of people who haven't bothered me before get to me. Not because I care what others think, but because I see myself being lowered in the eyes and good opinion. That is the fear, you see, because I never wanted to bring you anything but joy. I'm sorry I lost my focus. You are all that matters to me. I don't want to ever let you down. Thank you for being my guardian and protector in this life. That's what I wanted to use this card for. Okay, so she typed this up on a card. When you saw me at the cash register, and once again did what you didn't have to do and gifted me with mementos of this trip of a lifetime, a coming of age. I will return a better person. I have to sign off now as the cars are leaving. See you soon. With all my heart, Natalie. And it was typed. The only thing that's not typed is she wrote her name, Natalie. That is not a love letter. That's a young girl who's an employee who's scared she's going to be fired by the man she admires, the President of the United States, Donald Trump. The way that Maggie Haberman, the Pulitzer Prize Russia journalist at the New York Times, portrayed this yesterday was a love letter. That is not a love letter. And I'm glad that the letter has finally gotten put. Now maybe they can tell us how they got it. I don't know how the New York Times got it. but I have never seen nor heard of a love letter that was typed. And it had, you know what it had in it? I don't know what you call those things. What do you call it when you have a sentence and you put a dash in between a sentence? Maybe call it a dash. But you know what I'm talking about? This is not a personal, intimate love letter as portrayed by Natalie Haberman that I talked about yesterday from the New York Times. So, you know, and she's obviously, you know, when you are the assistant to the president, it's a 1,000-hour-a-week job. I mean, you know. And she is scared. That's it, that she's going to get fired. Have you ever heard of a love note that was typed? I've never heard of such a thing before in my life. With things, a hyphen? I don't know. I think there's another name when you put the dash or the hyphen in a sentence. I don't know. But you know what I mean. I've never heard of a love note being typed or having these dashes in it between the sentences. Or things, there's somebody knocking at the door. I hope it's not that person that was scared the daylights out of me downstairs this morning. Or a love letter that has things in parentheses that are also typed. I've never heard of such a thing, ever. And you know what? No one else has either. And I bet you the New York Times, now we know why the New York Times didn't print the letter. Because if they printed the letter, everyone would know what it was and what it wasn't. And it certainly is not anything like they presented it to be during the Democracy Now! Interview and the CNN interview and the articles in the paper. You know, that Maggie Haberman, when they introduced her as a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, they neglected to tell you that her Pulitzer was from the Russia story, which was totally debunked. So what does she know? And I'll tell you this, she should be fired. You know this letter, you know what it reminds me of? You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of that Dan Rather CBS story in 2004 when W was running for re-election and they had that letter from his colonel, commanding officer in the Texas Air National Guard that said he went AWOL in 1975. You remember that? And then when they did a forensic analysis, it was written on Microsoft Word, which Bill Gates had not invented in 1975, and it got debunked. Dan Rather got fired, and the producer got fired for that fraudulent letter. What the New York Times has done here is not just fake news. They knew it was fake news, and they hid this letter from the public because they knew that that was not a love note. Now, I know they didn't get fired or return their Pulitzers for the Russia, but come on. Listen, that's all the time we have for today. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show. We'll see you Monday morning at 6 a.m. You all take care, and God bless Donald Trump. See you Monday. All right, guys, I got to take off. Thanks for joining. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And everyone, please like the video, all right? Take care.